Speaking of opportunities, it's college time. Young people all over the area just took the SATs. Governor Kitzhaber has declared that November is Oregon College Application Month. And here to explain what that means is Adrienne Enriquez of the Oregon University System. Welcome, Adrienne.
Thank you.
So why the push on getting students to apply for college?
Maybe I can explain a little bit about the College Application Week initiative, which Oregon started or joined in with last year. In 2012, Oregon joined the National American College Application Campaign, which is an initiative of the American Council on Education. And they have been working with the Lumina Foundation in thinking about what are the needs in terms of the economy around how many students will go on to college or will graduate with degrees and be able to be successful and have livable wage jobs. And the American College Application Campaign is one initiative that they're working on to build more opportunities, in particular for low-income students and first-generation college students to start thinking about going on to college. Oregon joined that initiative last year and started with a small pilot site of 7 high schools in which we encourage students to have a dedicated time during the school day where volunteers and faculty and staff members within the school were able to come and help students to complete their application. Because as we know, you can't go to college without actually completing an application.
And
so
an application is complicated. There's a lot to it.
That's right. And so this is an opportunity for students to really have help and assistance with that process and to feel good about having time to complete that application and know that they can. And so this year, the steering committee for that particular initiative in Oregon decided to grow the program. And we're growing it intentionally, so still small with 32 sites around the state. Some in Portland, some in Southern Oregon, some in Eastern Oregon, on the coast, sort of in Central Oregon, around really everywhere. And as a part of that, we asked the governor to proclaim November to be College Application Month so that we could build some excitement and enthusiasm around the process of applying to college, connected to these College Application Week events, but really encouraging the entire state or seniors and others around who are eligible.
So in the 32 schools where there are college application weeks, what's going on there?
Yeah, so in those particular places, they are. It looks a little bit different in every school, which we think is kind of exciting. Schools can do what makes most sense for their communities, but ultimately what they're doing is having dedicated time and space during the school day when volunteers and maybe from the community, but also maybe faculty and staff members are coming together. It often happens in a library or a computer lab, and students are able to go into that space, sit down, and actually complete their college application with the assistance of adults who are caring about what they're doing. And what we found last year in the pilot site was that there were kids who never thought that they would apply to college because they thought just the process of applying would be too difficult. When they had somebody who was there to help them, they realized that it was easy, and some of them or easier than they thought, and some students submitted 2 or 3 applications during that time instead of the none that they were planning to do before they ever got there.
What's the hardest part?
I think it depends a little bit on the student, but in some cases, it's really just having the information that they need in front of them.
And then there's the essay.
Yes. So for some colleges, essays are definitely required, although not all colleges require essays. During the College Application Month and College Application Week campaigns, many of the students are actually applying to schools that don't require essays. So they're applying to community colleges or some of the Oregon University System schools that don't require it.
So tell me why college is important.
Well, I'm a proponent of college being important in part because educating ourselves and learning more about the world and how we interact in it is a pretty critical thing. Critical thinking and learning how to communicate with people is something that we all need to be able to do. But it's also important because our economy is fast moving into a place where it is necessary for people to have some kind of post-secondary education. And that might be a bachelor's degree, but it might be an associate's degree or some other kind of credential. What we know right now is that based on some data from the Georgetown Center for Workforce and Education, that in Oregon alone in 2018, 64% of our workforce will need to have some kind of higher education, and we're not really near that yet. So we need to have more students thinking about college and going to college and graduating from college if our economy is going to be stable.
Talk about college as a means of overcoming income inequality.
College is one of the things that we know is going to be necessary, or post-secondary education of some kind is one of the things that we know is necessary in order for students to, or for people to have jobs that are living wage jobs. We know that's not true for everybody, but we know it's going to be true for at least 64% of the population in very short order. And so college is one of the ways that folks can get into some of those careers that will be able to allow them to support their families.
Right. College graduates make more.
They do. They do. And I haven't looked at the statistics most recently, but they make in order of millions more over a lifetime.
Over the course of a career. Students today are graduating with an enormous amount of debt, and people who go to grad school have even more debt. How do you determine whether it's worth it?
I think, first of all, there are some ways for students to be able to avoid some of that debt burden in terms of choosing schools, looking at financial aid, if that's something that's available to them, and scholarships. And so there are some ways to mitigate some of that debt that folks are having. But I think that when it's all said and done, if what you're interested in doing with your life and what's going to make you happy in your life in terms of the work that you do, the community that you're a part of, if college is necessary in order for that to be a part of your world, or in order for you to have the life that you're interested in, it's probably worth it. And it's probably worth it to have some debt in order to go forward. The value of an education is something that we really can't put a price on we do put a price on it, but I'm not sure that we really can when we think about everything that comes with an education. And some of that is our ability to communicate with people. It's our ability to be malleable within the world and within our jobs. Most people don't keep the same job for decades, and education can help us learn how to move around within a variety of different fields.
It speaks to our ability to learn, and there are many abstract advantages, and college graduates earn more.
That is true. That is true.
So how does somebody go about selecting a college?
There are a number of different ways that students can do it. And I think right now the most popular way for students to select colleges, and maybe even one of the most effective, is through some online search tools. Right now, there are over 4,000 colleges in the country. And certainly there's more than one that's going to be a good fit for a student. But the reality is that it's impossible to look at all 4,000 of those. And so some of these search engines are really great. And in fact, one of the things that we've been encouraging students who are participating in the College Application Week event to do is to use some of those online tools. One of our favorites is bigfuture.org. Because it allows students to really start where they are. And they even have a button on the front page that says, I have no idea what I want to do or what I'm looking for in a college. And it really walks students through all of the different things that might matter to them. So what they're interested in studying, where they'd like to be in the country. Do they want to have a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree? How much money do they want to spend? Those kinds of things. And it takes them through all of those steps and helps them and identify some schools that might be good fits for them.
I read that the Corbett School District is requiring its graduates of the high school to submit a college application as a condition of graduation. It's one of the requirements. What do you think about that?
I think it's not a bad idea. I think that the more that we can open doors for students, the better. And submitting a college application is one way to open a door. And I think that students can't walk through doors that haven't been opened for them.
So wrapping up, if somebody is exploring college right now, what is a good website to go to?
I think that bigfuture.org is a really great option for students to check out. And learn a little bit more about what's of interest to them. In part because they have tools for students who have no idea what they're interested in, and students who think that they know exactly what they want to do. There are pathways for them to really explore a variety of different colleges.
Adrienne Enriquez of the Oregon University System. Thank you.
Thank you.